These two Bitcoin topping scenarios are the most probable ones and might occur in the next couple of months. And in this video, we are going to talk about why I believe that we are going to see the cryptocurrency market top within the next months, and why I think that we are going to soon spend 1 year actually falling down and fully resetting our price and reaching the ultimate bottom. As you know, I'm a cycle trader and I follow one predefined cycle indicator, which I actually call a cycle indicator. Now, this cycle indicator can be applied on multiple time frames, and if you watched my previous videos, you know that I applied on a bunch of different time frames, from 12-hour cycle to even a 2-hour cycle, and even a bigger time frames like 1 week cycle or the 2 week cycle. The cycle indicator shows how the financial asset is going to move within the next period of time. Now, if we are talking about the 2 week cycle indicator, the one that you can see at the bottom left corner, we can see that the 2 week cycle indicator is currently at the 70, meaning that we still have some room to grow up, and we're most probably going to go up, peak somewhere in July, and going to go down within the next 1 to 2 months. And we're going to reach a potential bottom in September. Now, this might be the ultimate top for Bitcoin. I published this chart a while ago, right? This one actually, where I show that we might peak somewhere in August when the 2 week cycle indicator actually goes above 80. Now, this happened in every single bull market before, and this will most probably happen in this market as well. Now, if you take a look back in the 2021 bull market, you can see that we reached a top about 70K area, and the 2 week cycle indicator was identifying a top. It also met the 1 week cycle indicator, and this signals a perfect top opportunity. Here we short. Here we don't want to hold any more cryptos. Now, some altcoins might still pop up. However, this usually shows the top of the crypto market. The same actually happened also a while ago. This chart is not the oldest one. Let me switch the chart to the Bitstamp one, which shows a longer history of the cryptocurrency prices. We can see the 2013 bull market, and the same thing's happening here. We are actually topping at a 2 week and the 1 week cycle indicator top. Both indicators meet above 80, and we see a top in the market. Now you can see also the next one, the 2018-2017 top, where we topped just before the New Year's. And same thing here, the 2 week cycle meeting the 1 week cycle and topping. However, this happens multiple times throughout the history. That means that we not necessarily see the ultimate top of the market. We might see one more retracement to the downside, and we might see an ultimate top later on in the next 2 weekly cycle top, like it happened multiple times before. Look at this top in the November 2024, the 2 week cycle meeting the 1 week cycle, making a local top, and then spending about 6 months going down. Actually, this was not the best period of time. Same here, the 2 week cycle meeting the 1 week cycle, spending the next 6 months going down. Now, if we don't make an ultimate top somewhere in August or even July, we might have another chance. And this chance would basically bring us to somewhere to the end of the year, November or potentially even December of 2025. This would be an extended bull market, which is also probable. And that's actually my second scenario, which I also depicted in my newsletter a couple of weeks ago. Right here, I also said that we might top at the end of the year when the 2 week cycle reaches the top second time in a row. Now, this would mean that we would have a local top somewhere here within the next few weeks, and then we spend some time resetting once again, and then we would shot for an ultimate top. This is a probable scenario, and that's actually even better for us because it would leave more chances for us to make money in the crypto market. Remember, we always make money on the way top, and if you watch this channel, we also make money on the way down, where we are shorting. We are shorting when the 2 week cycle is going down. This is the easiest money making machine in crypto. Now, once we establish our ultimate bottom, we actually start going up from there. Now, you might think that why we cannot repeat this action over and over again? Sure, we can. However, the opportunity to make money is actually much smaller. If you take a look at the 2022 bull market, we made a top and we shorted to the 2022 February. Sure. However, what happened after then, we had a very long consolidation phase, and then we went down because the 2 week cycle didn't manage to make a top. didn't manage to go above 80. And this actually happens in very bearish conditions. So sure, when you actually experience this, you want to short once again. However, you also have some long positions that might be trapped. You might be waiting for the 2-week cycle to actually reverse somewhere here and make a top. However, this never happens. So this is much more difficult to trade. It's easier to trade the upside than the downside. However, once this is established, once we understand that, hey, we are in the bear market and we're going lower, we are actually going to short and going to make money going down. Now, but this video is not about shorting and it's not about long. It's actually about understanding what are the chances for us to top in August and what are the chances to actually top at the end of the year. Now, if you ask me right now, I would vote for the more likely scenario, which is actually a top in August. I believe that we are in a very bullish period this summer and we might go up by a substantial amount in the next weeks and 2 months, and we will have a top in August. This would actually make sense and would align with the previous cycles. This would also leave over 1 year to actually fully reset the cryptocurrency prices and fully go down. I believe that that's where the retail would get trapped. You see, now if you Google Bitcoin and you check Google Trends, you will realize that not much retail is there. We can see that at the previous tops in 2017 and 2021, more people were actually looking for Bitcoin on Google and trying to download different applications like Coinbase, trying to buy. However, the interest for Bitcoin now is quite low. It's actually as low as it was in 2023 or as low as it was in 2019, which is actually a boring period for cryptocurrencies. The reality is Bitcoin is smashing all-time highs. We are in a very, very good bull market. We're actually going up for a few years right now, and many people who invested in crypto, they made money this cycle. Let me delete some of this information, which is not more needed. If Bitcoin starts to rally, smash all-time highs once again, reach a potential of 130, 140, and even 150K, I believe that's when the retail will start coming back. That's when the retail will say, hey, now it's an interesting time. Now we are going up for sure. And that's how they're going to get trapped. And this happens every single time. So don't be this stupid retail people. Simply use cycle indicators and make sure that you buy right now and you sell when the 2-week cycle is at the top. 1-week cycle indicator will do something like this and will also go at the top and will meet the 2-week cycle there. That's where you want to sell regardless of what happens in the market. Cycles lead the way, and news are simply projected narratives that hold no value. In case we reach the top in August, in case we do something like this and we are not knowing what to do because, hey, we are at 150K, we sold, we made profit, are we going to go up from here or we are going to enter a full bull market? Now, what you have to do, you have to simply wait until the 2-week cycle resets, until the 2-week cycle meets the 1-week cycle indicator at the bottom to be able to buy again. This is a safe zone to buy. A safe zone is when the 1-week cycle meets the 2-week cycle below 20. If you look into the previous interactions of the cycle indicators, you realize that right here, the 1-week cycle met a 2-week cycle, and from there, we started to rally up. And this happens every single time. Here as well, the 2-week cycle meets 1-week cycle multiple times. So here, and here not actually. So right here, if you bought in these areas, these are very profitable areas. And this happened multiple times also over the previous cycles. For example, right here is 1-week cycle is below 20. The 2-week cycle is below 20 here. So all this area is a good buy because we are going to go up. Now, a bad purchase is actually when the 1-week and the 2-week cycle are somewhere around 80, like here, like here, like here. You don't want to buy the tops. If you're buying whenever the 1-week cycle or the 2-week cycle are actually above 80, you are risking a lot. For instance, right now the 1-week cycle is above 80 and is trying to go down. In this situation, you have to look at the indicators on a smaller time frames, like 3-day cycle, which is currently going to the bottom, which might indicate a good opportunity to purchase, or 1-day cycle. Now, when the 1-day cycle is below 20, it's also a good opportunity to buy. However, if it's above 80, together with the 1-week cycle, this might not be the best opportunity to purchase. I developed an indicator that actually helps you to choose the zones to buy. Basically, it shows green whenever the 1-week cycle indicator meets the 1-day cycle indicator below 20, and it shows red whenever the 1-week cycle meets the 1-day above 80. And as you can see, it perfectly marks the local tops and local bottoms. It happened multiple times throughout the last year. And these are the zones when you actually want to go and enter the market. The green zones is when you enter, the red zones is when you exit. The conclusion is it doesn't really matter whether the bull market top will happen in August or it will happen in November. It doesn't change anything. What it changes, a bull market top in November would allow us to earn more money and would allow us to trade this beautiful market longer. If you want access to these cycle indicators, all you have to do is you have to go to strategymaster.io, get the subscription right here. It's just $49 a month, 46 euros a month, and you are going to have access to all the cycle indicators, all the strategies that I use with cycles, and you will be able to decide yourself whether you want to invest or not. And remember, these cycle indicators, they also work for other cryptocurrencies, not only Bitcoin. They perfectly work for Ethereum and others as well. And if you want to trade and make money, simply go in the description down below, click on the BTCC link, deposit any amount and get 10% bonus for free. You can deposit $5,000 and you will get $500 for free. And you can simply use this $500 to trade. First of all, it will cost you nothing. Second, you don't even touch your money. You simply use my cycle indicators, put these $500, and you see whether you're actually able to make money. You're able to double the money? Great. Then you can start using your money. But there is no need to actually touch your deposit amount, which is the beauty, which is why I like BTC Crypto Exchange, because nobody likes to invest their own money, but everybody likes free money, right? All right. See you in the next one.